Factors of elasticity of demand. What are the factors for elasticity of demand? So the factors of elasticity of demand, that is in the last class we discussed about the first factor of elasticity of demand is, that is nature of the product. So the products are divided into three types, like as a necessity goods, comfort goods and luxury goods. So depending upon the nature of the product, the demand for the product is elastic or inelastic. Next one is time frame. So time frame means that is the depending upon the time availability to the customer, available time to the customer also one of the factors for elasticity of demand. So depending upon the time frame, the demand for the product is elastic or inelastic. And next one is degree of postponement. So that is based upon the degree of postponement, the demand for the product is elastic or inelastic. And next of all, that is the product uses. If the product has a number of alternative uses, that is the demand for the product is inelastic. And next one is taste and preference of the consumer. So in the taste and preference of the consumer, we already discussed about, that is some customers are loyal to some particular brands, so those brands demand is inelastic. And next factor is availability of close substitutes. If there is no close substitute is available for the product, so the demand for the product is inelastic. In case of complementary or joint goods, that is the elasticity is low for joint goods. And next level of price, if the price is available in the market as a very cheap or very expensive, so these two types of products demand is inelastic. Next one is availability of subsidies. The government provides some subsidies to some particular type of the products. If the subsidies are available, so those product demand is inelastic. Next one is expectations of prices. If the customer expected about the changes in price, so those product demand is inelastic. And next one is durability of the product. So the products are divided into three types: durable, perishable and consumer durables. So depending upon these durability of the product, the demand for the product is inelastic. And next factor is government policies. The government liberal policy also determines the demand for the product. If some products, the government is liberalized on some products, so those products demand is inelastic. So next one is, what are the significance of elasticity of demand? The significance of elasticity of demand is price of factors of production. Price of factors of production. So factors of production means the land, labor, capital, organization and technology are called as a factors of production. So that is, for labor you pay the wages, and for a capital that is the interest and profit, and for the land that is the organization pay rents. So when comparing these two, these all factors of production, in some areas if the labor is unionized, the demand is inelastic. That is the, if the labor has a union, so the demand for the labor is inelastic. The demand for the labor does not change depending upon the boom or recession. At the same time, the demand for land in villages is elastic, and in industrial township the demand for land is always, that is there is a demand for a land in a industrial area, so the demand is inelastic. Next factor is price fixation. So in the price fixation, if the company, if the only a single company is available to producing a particular product, so that is called as a monopoly situation. So in this monopoly situations, the company fixes very high price to gain more profits, because there is no competition is available in the market. But in some cases, if the more and more companies are ready to purchase or to produce the same type of the product in the market, in these situations, that is the company fixes very less price. If they fixes the very high price, there is the demand for the product decreases. So in the monopoly situation, the demand is inelastic, otherwise the demand is elastic. And the next significance of elasticity of demand is forecasting the demand. So forecasting means that is to estimate the future demand. If the trader can estimate the quantity of goods sold at a different income level, income elasticity is used to forecast the demand for a particular product, and the trader can estimate the quantity of goods sold at different income level. And next factor is planning the levels of output and price. Planning the level means how much quantity is to be produced and at what price to sold the product in the market. That is to plan about the how much quantity is to be produced and what price to be fixed to a particular product. So in this planning the levels and of output and price, that is the producer has a planning about how much quantity is to be purchased. That means the input. He planned about input purchasing and hiring the labor and spend the amount on a advertising expenses depending upon the level of output. The producer purchase the raw material, hire the employees, and that is he spend the money on advertising. So these are the different significance of a elasticity of demand. The different significance of elasticity of demand is prices of factors of production, price fixation, forecasting demand, and last one is the planning the levels of output and price. So the next topic, the today's topic is what are the factors of demand forecasting? What are the factors of demand forecasting? Before going to discuss about the factors of demand forecasting, first of all, what is the demand forecasting? What is the demand forecasting? So demand forecasting means that is to forecast about the demand of a particular product. That means to estimate the future demand of a product is called as a demand forecasting. To estimate about the what is the future demand for a particular product is called as a demand forecasting. So in the estimation, so that means to estimate about what is the today's demand or what is the tomorrow's demand or what is the demand for our product after 1 month, what is the demand for our product after 1 year. So that type of estimations are called as a demand forecasting. So in this estimation about a future demand for a product, so what are the factors which are helpful for estimating the future demand for a product are? First one is functional nature of the demand. Functional nature of the demand. So in this functional nature of the demand, higher volume of sales can be realized with higher level of advertising. That is, if you want to sell the products as a higher quantity, if you want to sell more and more goods in the market, in these situations, the advertising is very compulsory. That is, the advertising can be realized with higher level of, that is for a higher volume of sales. But if the company wants, that is only some minimum volume of sales, that is the your goal is only to sell with the minimum output in the market, there is no need of advertisement, though there is no need of advertising. But if you want to sell the product as a highest volume or more and more quantity, so in these situations the advertising is very helpful. So that is a functional nature of the demand. Next one is a type of forecast. So the forecasts are of two types, such as a short run forecast and a long run forecast. That is depending upon the time period. The forecasts are of two types, as a short run forecast and a long run forecast. Short run means that is below 1 year period is called as a short run. From 2 to 10 years or from 1 to 20 years period is also called as a long run. So the short run, it helps to forecast the fluctuations on demand based on seasonal, cultural and festival. The utilization of resources can be optimized. The performance of sales force can be monitored. So short run means below 1 year period. So in this below 1 year period, the different fluctuations are occur in a demand due to the changing seasons, and at the same time the culture and festival. If you observe, that is some type of the sales are increases at a festival season. when comparing to normal times. And at the same time seasons, so in some seasons the demand for the product increases. That is, for example, that is the umbrellas demand increases at rainy season, and the cotton cloth demand increases at a summer season. So depending upon the season, the demand for the product changes. So the demand fluctuations in a short run occur due to the seasons, cultural and festival. So depending upon these, that is, the utilization of resources can be optimized. If the demand is, if the season for a product is a the demand for the product increases in a particular season, so automatically, that is, you put more and more resource, and in another situations that you utilize the resources what you have. The performance of sales for can be monitored. So that is, if it is a good season to the company, so there is no need to monitor the sales force performance. But if it is a unseason to the company, so in these situations the company monitor the sales force performance, because the depending upon the performance, some minimum sales occur to the company at a half season or a unseason. And long run is from 1 to 20 years. It provides the information for major strategic decisions and basis for considering market expansion. It helps to help an application, it helps to make an application for long term finance. So long term period means from 1 to 20 years. This 1 to 20 year different type of changes are occur in the market. That is a changing technology, that means new technology are entering into the market, changing fashions. So automatically the generations changes, the fashions also changed. So that is, this long term period is very helpful to the company, that is for strategic decision, that is for future decisions, such as for expand the market or not, for expand the market or not, to invest more and more amount in the company, and to borrow the money from different sources, like as a from bank loans or some other sources. So this type of decisions, that is the long run demand forecasting, is very helpful. The short run demand forecasting is helpful, that is the for observing or monitoring the performance of a sales force. But the long run demand forecasting is helpful for expanding the business, or for establishing the new branches, or borrow the money for increasing the investment in the organization. And next type factors of demand forecasting is a forecasting level. Forecasting levels are, there are two types of levels. There are three types of forecasting levels, as a it is a farm level, industry level, or national level. So we already discussed about farm. Farm means that is a one small branch in the company is called as a farm. Industry means that is a whole organization. Whole organization is called as a industry. I will told the difference about farm and industry with the help of the one of the best example is, that is a Tollywood or Bollywood is are the farms, and the film industry is called as a industry. So that is to estimate the demand as a farm level or industry level or overall total national level. National level forecast worked out based on income saving of customers. With the globalization and deregulation, the entrepreneur starts exploring the foreign markets for which the global level forecasts are utilized. There is a national level demand forecasting is depending upon the globalization and the income of the customers, income savings, and the foreign exports and imports. So these are the different factors for estimating the demand at a national level. So farm level means that is a one particular branch. For example, the Guntur branch or Vijayawada branch. So for estimating this demand for at a particular branch, it depends upon the local area factors. The local area factors. And industry level means total industry. So total industry demand forecasting is depending upon, that is the overall industries, means the overall industries performance. So already we discussed, that is the demand for a cement at a particular area, like as a that at a particular area is called as a farm level demand. If the constructions increases in overall India for as for development of India, that is called as a industry level. Next one is degree of orientation. Degree of orientation, the demand forecast based on total sales or product or service wise sales for a given time, that is called as a degree of orientation. That is, if the company want to estimate the demand for a product that is based on total sales or only particular product or particular service, so that type of the demand, that is a demand forecastings are different. So what is a total sales? The total sales means if you take any company, for example, LG company produces different type of products as a LG refrigerators, washing machines and air conditioners. So if you want to estimate the future demand, what is the demand for LG refrigerator in the 2021 year? What is the demand for a LG refrigerator in 2021? So that is called as a product wise demand forecasting. Product wise demand forecasting. Or if the company wants to estimate what is the demand for overall LG products, that is called as a total sales. Estimation, demand forecasting on total sales. And at the same time, that is if the service sector company, that is to estimate the demand for its particular service, is called as a service level demand forecasting. So that is a demand forecasting depending upon the factors as a degree of orientation, product wise or service wise or customer region wise or specific forecast. Next type of the factor for demand forecasting is establish a new product. Joel Dean suggests a number of possible approach to new product demand forecasting. So established product means that is the product is already in the market, and if you want to estimate about what is the future demand for this product, that is called as a established product demand forecasting. Or if you want to introduce a new product in the market, that is if you want to introduce a new product in the market, so how much quantity to be produced to a new product. So that type of the demand estimation for a new product, that is a new product means a new technology or the product which is new to your company or overall it is new to the customer. So such type of products demand estimation is called as a new product demand estimation. The Joel Dean suggested that new established product demand estimation is very easy when comparing to new product demand estimation. For example, already number of TVs are available in the market. So to estimate about what is the future demand for TVs, so that is called as a established demand forecasting. So it is very simple. When comparing to the past year sales or when comparing to the past 2 year or 3 years, so you automatically estimate about what is the next year demand for TVs. So it is very easy to estimate about the established product because the past data is available. Depending upon this past data, that is you estimate roughly what is the future demand for a product. But if the product is new to the market, that means that is the new to the customer and it is new to the market. In these situations, that is to estimate the demand for the product is very critical. So for this type of the new products, Joel Dean suggests a number of possible approach to new product demand forecasting. The first one is find out the demand for related existing product. That is the first of all for estimating the new product or new technology demand, that is to find out the demand for related products who are who are already in the market, and project it for new product at its outgrowth. That is for estimating the new product demand, that is to take the existing product which is related to our new product. Depending upon that related existing product demand, that is to estimate the new product demand. New product can be analyzed as a substitute for some existing product, and at the same time, that is to analyze this new product, what are the substitutes to this new product. What are the substitutes to this new product? Substitutes means, that is we already explained in the last class, as a tea and coffee are the best substitutes. So like that, for our new product, that is the already the substitute products are available in the market, or what are the substitute products to our new product? So the type of analyzing as a substitute for some existing product. And next one is assess the demand through the sample or total survey of consumers' intention. That is to estimate the demand for a new product or new product features or price. That is to take some samples. So samples means, that is the in some particular area, that is you ask the customer what is their opinion about if you want to launch a new product, what is their opinion. So such type of the collecting the opinion of a customer, that is to estimate the future demand for a product. Next one is offer the product for sale in a limited market and test the result. That is the to produce the new product with very less quantity. That means few products produces, and these products are introduced into the particular market, and to test the market if the total sales occur or not. So depending upon this sales, that is to take the opinion of customer, that is the product is suitable to the taste and preference of the consumer, and the price, if the customers are satisfied with the product price and product uses. So such type of data collections will give the such type of data collection is also helpful to the company, that is for estimating the future demand. That is to estimate the future demand by the help of a sale of product in a limited market and test the results. If the results are not satisfactory, find out the reasons. So if the sales is not occur, so find out what are the reasons. That is the customers are not satisfied to our product. So what are the reasons? So by the help of these reasons, collecting the reasons, so automatically you implement what is the taste and preference of a consumer, to implement their taste and preferences in the product, and another to introduce into the market. Next, contact the dealers to know the customer reaction to the new product. That means to contact the dealers to know about the what is the customer reaction to a new product. So that is the one of the forecasting new product. So that is to new product forecasting. First of all, that is find out the demand for a related existing product, and new product can be analyzed as a substitute for some existing product, and assess the demand through the help of some sample or total survey of consumers. Offer the product for a sale in a limited market and test the results. Contact the dealers to know the customer reaction to the new product. With the help of this all data, with the help of this analyzing, that is to estimate the future demand for a new product. And next of all, what are the forecasting steps? That is, if you want to estimate the future demand, or if you want to demand forecasting, so what are the steps the company follows in a demand forecasting are? First one, identify and state the objectives of forecasting clearly. Identify and state the objectives of forecasting clearly. So identify and state the objectives means, that is if the company wants to estimate the future demand of a product to a farm level or industry level or national level, or if the company wants to estimate the future demand for a short run or long run, for a short run or a long run. So that type of clearly identify the objectives of a demand forecasting. That is if the company wants to estimate the future demand to a whole industry or a farm, or it estimate the future demand for a product, that is at a product wise or a service wise, or that is to estimate the demand for a product that is in a short run or long run. So such type of objectives are clearly stated. And next step for forecasting demand is select the appropriate methods of forecasting. Select the appropriate methods of forecasting. There are number of methods. There are number of methods are very useful to estimate about the future demand for a product. That is, the companies are uses a number of methods, like as a survey method, and judgmental approach, management by objectives method. So these are the different type of methods which are helpful to the company, to estimate the future demand. From this all methods, first of all, to select which method is useful to the company, or which method is useful to the company, and the company spend the amount on this survey, spend the amount on demand forecasting, which method is very expensive and which is very cheaply available. Next forecasting step is identify the variables affecting the demand for the product. So identifying the variables means, that is, we know that is different demand factors such as a income of the customer, price of the product, taste and preference of the consumer. So these are all the different demand determining factors. So that is, if your product, what are the variables available to your product? What are the variables available to your product? For example, tea and coffee are the substitutes. So depending upon the tea price, the demand for the coffee changes. So this is the one of the variable. One of the variable. So such type of, that is the, to identify the what are the variables are available to our product for which are affect the demand for the product. Next one is express the variables in appropriate form. Express the variables. That is, if the product has a number of variables, so these variables are expressed on the paper, and that is to estimate the future demand depending upon the variables. Collect the relevant data to represent the variables. Next step is determine the most probable relationship between dependent and independent variables using appropriate statistical techniques. That is, for estimating the future demand for a product, what are the dependent variables and what are the independent variables. For example, if you want to estimate the super specialty hospital future demand, if you want to estimate about a one super specialty hospital demand forecasting, so in this, that is, super specialty is a independent variable, but the hotels or the medical shops nearby the super specialty hospital are dependent variables. So like that, for estimating the hotel's demand, that is, a hotel is a dependent variable, or if you want to estimate the hospital demand, hospital is a independent variable. So for estimating the demand forecasting, first of all, determine the most probable relationship between dependent and independent variables relationship using different type of statistical techniques. Make appropriate assumptions by interpret results in terms of market share, turnover and product groups. And last one is, let there be alternative forecast to make forecast more meaningful. And at the same time, let there be alternative forecasts to make forecast more meaningful. So these are the different steps in a demand forecasting. If you want to demand estimation, or if you want to demand forecast to your product, first of all, that is to clearly identify what are the objectives of demand forecasting as a farm level, industry level, short run or long run. And next from this, that is to select the appropriate method which is suitable for our product demand forecasting objectives. Next, identify the variables. What are variables are available in the market to our product? And from these variables, that is to make a relationship between dependent and independent variable by the help of a statistical techniques as a probability linear equations method. And next from this, that is to appropriate assumptions by interpret results in terms of market share, turnover and product groups. And last one, that there be alternative forecast to make forecast more meaningful. So these are the different steps of a demand forecasting. And next one is demand forecasting methods. What are the methods for estimating the demand? So in the steps of a demand forecasting, we already discussed, that is select the appropriate method of demand forecasting. The second step of a demand forecasting is select the appropriate method of demand forecasting. So that is, what are the different types of demand forecasting methods? What are the different types of demand forecasting methods are? That is the demand forecasting is, that is they are divided into three methods such as a opinion polling method, statistical method and other methods. Opinion polling method, statistical method, and other methods. In opinion polling method, consumer survey method, Salesforce opinion method, and expert opinion method. And in the statistical method, trend projection method, barometric method, regression method, and last one, simultaneous equation method. And in this consumer survey method, the other methods are, that is the other methods in a consumer survey are complete enumeration survey, sample survey, and test marketing, and last one is end user method. So these are the different methods of a demand forecasting. There is a demand forecasting are divided into different methods as a first one is a survey or a opinion polling method, and next one is a statistical method, and last one is a other method. So these are the three methods of a demand forecasting. So first of all, survey method. So in the survey method, the survey of buyer's intention, survey of the first method, the survey method. Survey method means that is the to collect the opinion of a customers by the help of different type of a surveys. That is, we conduct different type of surveys, and that is if the elections are done or before the elections, that is some TV channels are conduct the surveys. That is which party get more and more votes. So like that, the survey method means that is to collect the information from the customer or the public, that is called as a survey method. So in this survey method, the survey methods are another divided into two types as a survey of buyer's intention, and second one Salesforce opinion method. The survey methods are another divided into two types as a survey of buyer's intention and Salesforce opinion method. So first of all, survey of buyer's intention. So this survey of buyer intention, this is the most effective method. This is the most effective method because the buyer is the ultimate decision maker. Buyer means customer. Customer is the ultimate decision maker, and we are collecting the information directly from the buyers. That is, the company conduct the survey and it collect the opinion of the customer. So this is very effective because we are directly collecting the information from the customer for estimating the future demand, like as a to collect the information from the customer as a what is the opinion of a customer to our about our product, and how what is their taste and preference, why they are not ready for purchasing our product, so what changes they ask for to purchase the product. So such type of opinions are collected from the customer, so it is very effective. So depending upon the customer opinion, that is to estimate about what is the future demand for our product, so that is called as a survey method. So in this survey method, that is to collect the information, or for demand forecasting, that is to collect the information from directly from the customer. So like as a what is their opinion about our product, so how many members are ready for purchasing our product in future. So this is the one of the method in demand forecasting in a survey method is survey of buyer's intention. So this survey of buyer's intention is another divided into two types. Another divided into two types of methods as a first one census method and second one sample method. First one census method and second one is sample method. Census method are total enumeration method. Census method are total enumeration method means if the company wishes to elect the opinion of buyer is called census method. It is very costly and time consuming method. So in this census method, that is a you collect the information of the total customers. That is, if the company has 100 customer, so the company collects the total 100 customers opinion. That is, they collect each and every customer's opinion for estimating the future demand. But it is very costly because for collecting, if the company has 1 lakh customer, the company collects all the 1 lakh customer opinion. So automatically for collecting the opinion, that is the company appoints some type of the employees, and that is the company pays their different type of employees different type of expenses. So the company bears the employees salaries and their expenses also for collecting each and every customer opinion. So it is very costly, and at the same time, that is for collecting all the all the buyers data or opinion, it takes very time consuming method. So that is the first one is census method. And the second method in a samples, that is a sample survey method. In this sample survey method, the firm can select a group of buyers who can represent the whole population. It is a faster and lower cost method when comparing to census method. So it is in this method, the company collect the opinion of a only selected group. For example, if the company has a 1 lakh customer, from this 1 lakh customer, that is the company select only 1000 customers. That is who are the represents of the whole customer. That is if these 100 customer or 1000 customer who are giving the opinion of all the customers. So like that type of the collection of a opinion of buyers is called as a sample survey method. That means from 1 lakh customer, that is we select only 1000 samples. So by taking these 1000 samples opinion, we estimate about the future demand. So this is very, when comparing to census method, it is very faster and lower cost method. This is very faster and lower cost method. In a methods of demand forecasting, the first method is a survey method. This survey method is another divided into survey of buyer's intention and sales force opinion. This survey method of buyer's intention is another divided into census method and sample survey method. So next one is sales force opinion method. Sales force opinion method. So this sales force opinion method, we discuss the remaining methods of demand forecasting in the next class. Remaining methods of a demand forecastings are we explain in a next class. Thank you.